In 2020, Prince Harry believed that walking away from the British royal family meant securing ultimate freedom. He traded ancient protocols for California sunshine, multi-million-dollar media deals, and absolute control over his own narrative. But freedom in the public eye comes with a hidden, compounding invoice. According to royal biographer Tom Bower, the shift in power following the accession of King Charles has brought Prince Harry's deepest anxiety into sharp focus: the formal strip of his remaining ducal titles. The monarchy isn't fighting back with explosive interviews. It's using the quiet, cold precision of centuries-old constitutional mechanism. Prince William's vision for a streamlined, modern monarchy leaves no room for half-in, half-out royal status. The very identity Harry spent a lifetime building isn't just fading. It's being systematically dismantled. What happens to a prince when the kingdom he left behind finally decides to close the door for good? The gates of the Montecito mansion were supposed to mark the beginning of a safe haven. High above the Pacific coastline, sheltered by manicured hedges and high-tech security grids, Prince Harry finally found a space where no palace courtyard protocol could reach him. To the outside world, the early months of this new chapter looked like an absolute victory. The headlines across the globe were loud, capturing every high-stakes move. Massively lucrative production deals with streaming giants instantly poured in. For a brief moment, it appeared as though a royal identity could simply be detached from the ancient institution that created it, packed into a leather suitcase, and reassembled under the bright lights of Southern California. Harry operated on a foundational belief. His global platform made him immune to palace pressure. He was convinced that his personal fame, paired with the intense interest of an international audience, created a bulletproof shield. If the public loved the man, the formal office wouldn't matter. But while public relations campaigns play out in fast-moving news cycles, constitutional machinery operates on a completely different timeline. Back in London, behind heavy oak doors in Westminster and Buckingham Palace, the mood wasn't aggressive. It was clinical. To understand why this shield is starting to crack, you have to look past the media noise and examine the underlying mechanics of royal power. A peerage title, like the Duke of Sussex, isn't just a stylish family name handed down through generations. It is a legal distinction created by the monarch through formal legal instruments known as letters patent. Historians and constitutional scholars have understood a basic truth for centuries. What the crown creates, the crown and parliament can reshape. Titles do not belong to the individual holding them. They exist strictly at the pleasure of the state, serving as temporary loans designed to represent the government and the authority of the realm. As the initial excitement of California independence began to cool, subtle shifts started appearing in the data. Global public opinion polls began to drift. The novelty of high-profile media appearances started to wear off, replaced by a growing fatigue from international audiences. The protective moat that Harry believed his personal brand created began to dry up, exposing a cold, hard legal reality underneath. When a public figure chooses to walk away from a legacy institution, should they be allowed to keep the titles and privileges that come with it? Drop your perspective in the comments below. I read every response. But while Harry was focused on winning the media war in America, London was quietly rewriting the rules of engagement. Across the Atlantic, a very different strategy was taking shape inside the office of the heir to the throne. Prince William was step-by-step stepping into his expanded role as the Prince of Wales, bringing a completely different philosophy to the future of the House of Windsor. The contrast between the two brothers could not be sharper. Harry operates in the fast, unpredictable arena of modern celebrity culture, where relevance is measured in daily media hits and viral streaming moments. William plays an entirely different game, the slow, defensive game of institutional survival. Investigative reports from royal biographer Tom Bower reveal that William views the monarchy's titles not as personal rewards or family heirlooms, but as official state assets. In William's view, these honors carry specific weight, designed exclusively to support the public duties of the state. If a title is disconnected from active service to the nation, its institutional value instantly degrades into a branding tool for commercial gain. That degradation poses a direct risk to the long-term authority of the crown itself. The strategy coming from the new guard is defined by quiet discipline rather than public disputes. Look closely at palace briefing patterns and legislative movements surrounding the long-forgotten Titles Deprivation Act. You won't find explosive media leaks or aggressive personal statements coming from William's camp. Instead, you see a clear, persistent effort to streamline the royal firm down to its essential working core. Every official roster update, every subtle shift in event attendance lists, and every updated official royal website entry reinforces the exact same line. Official state authority belongs solely to those actively carrying out the work of the crown. William's vision for a minimalist, highly focused monarchy naturally excludes anyone trying to hold a half-in, half-out royal status. There is no room in this blueprint for non-working royals to anchor multimillion-dollar private ventures to official state titles. The distance growing between the brothers isn't driven by simple personal anger or old arguments. It is guided by a cold, strategic calculation for the survival of the crown itself. Strip away the gold trim, the historic uniform, and the formal address, and a simple question remains: what is a royal title actually worth on the open market? For Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex designation was never just a piece of paper. It formed the bedrock foundation for his entire American identity. It was the key credential that opened doors in global philanthropy, justified massive entertainment deals, and maintained a level of international status that no ordinary public figure could ever match. Without the backing of the formal monarchy, every commercial venture faces an entirely new tier of scrutiny. Broadcasters, corporate partners, and international donors don't invest tens of millions of dollars into standard celebrity projects without a unique, hard-to-find edge. The primary asset Harry brought to the table was his direct connection to a 1,000-year-old unbroken line of royal authority. If you value deeply researched, quietly iconic stories that look past the headlines and into the reality of world power, take a moment to subscribe and join our community. Tom Bauer highlights a critical psychological dynamic currently unfolding behind closed doors. Harry's core anxiety isn't just about losing a fancy label on a piece of stationery or an updated line on a birth certificate. His real fear is the steady loss of stature that makes his international work possible. Without the formal title, the brand power that powered his post-palace career faces an immediate identity crisis. When the source of an authority cuts off the supply line, brand power deteriorates remarkably fast. Executives start asking tougher questions. Contract renewals come with significantly lower offers. The unique prestige that once guaranteed instant access to global power players begins to look like standard Hollywood fame. The personal security costs alone, running into millions of dollars annually, require a massive, steady flow of income that relies almost entirely on the authority connected to his name. The psychological weight of this realization is heavy. Harry left the United Kingdom to escape what he described as an oppressive, trapped environment, expecting that his inherent value as a global icon would carry him through. Instead, he faces the reality that the very institution he left behind holds the legal master key to his public identity. Stripping the title wouldn't just change his name, it would instantly dismantle the foundation of his entire American enterprise. When the public imagines a showdown within the royal family, they picture heated arguments in drawing rooms or dramatic leaks to press outlets. But real institutional power rarely operates with loud noise. It moves through dull, quiet administrative processes, through committee rooms, legislative drafts, and red-tape legal reviews. To understand how a royal title is formally removed, you have to look past palace press releases and step inside the halls of Parliament. The last time the United Kingdom systematically stripped peerage titles from members of the royal family was during the height of the First World War under the Titles Deprivation Act of 1917. Back then, the process didn't involve a public trial. It was carried out through an orderly joint committee, quiet votes in the House of Lords, and a final royal decree signed without public spectacle. Today, lawmakers inside Parliament are quietly laying the groundwork to modernize these precise mechanisms. Key members of Parliament have repeatedly introduced bills aimed at giving the monarch and parliamentary committees expanded powers to remove peerage titles from individuals who no longer serve the state. This process isn't fast-tracked for overnight drama. It is intentionally engineered to be slow, deliberate, and entirely unstoppable once the gears begin to turn. This quiet, bureaucratic approach protects the crown from looking vengeful or spiteful. By shifting the heavy lifting to parliamentary committees and established legal frameworks, the palace avoids a direct media war. It becomes a matter of constitutional order, administrative updates, and standard governance. Line items in official state registries are quietly updated. Royal warrants are reviewed. Protocol guides given to foreign diplomats are silently re-edited. The relentless nature of British legal tradition makes the eventual outcome feel less like a dramatic personal feud and more like a simple, inevitable audit. We've all experienced the painful realization that a choice we made in our past might cost us something irreplaceable in our future. It's a uniquely human burden, even when experienced inside a palace. The real damage wasn't being done on television, but in the quiet committee rooms of Parliament where precedent becomes law. The distance between Montecito and London cannot be measured in miles or time zones. It is measured in the permanent wall now standing between two fundamentally different worlds. As King Charles's reign moves forward and Prince William continues to solidify his control over the administration of the monarchy, the divide between active working royals and former royals is locking permanently into place. The human cost of this institutional divide hits deep. Two brothers who once walked side by side behind their mother's coffin, bound together by a unique shared history that only two people on the planet could truly understand, now view each other across a deep divide of legal necessity and broken trust. Harry chose individual freedom, dynamic self-expression, and the open market of personal branding. William chose duty, continuity, and the cold preservation of a historical system. Tom Bower's central thesis lands on a heavy, unavoidable conclusion. Prince Harry successfully escaped what he viewed as a golden cage, stepping out into a world of total independence and absolute personal choice. But as the legal machinery back in London continues its quiet work, he faces a stark truth. The palace still holds the key to the one thing he couldn't take with him. He secured his independence, but the cost of keeping it may prove higher than anyone ever anticipated. Harry got the freedom he fought for, but he may soon find out just how much that freedom actually costs. To understand how this rift truly began long before Montecito, watch our deep dive into the silent strategic shift that permanently changed Prince William's relationship with his brother. Linked right here on screen.